course, none of us really believe that December is practically right upon us. The end of the year has arrived, and as ever, it has been an endlessly fascinating year in the world of South African politics, and hopefully in a good way for yourself. We'll have lots to discuss next year in that world, when of course we have a general election, and although they seem to say this kind of for every election, they always say, this is going to be the most important election held since democracy. Well, they have said that about every election, but I think we all agree it probably is. It's the one that might be the hardest to call for some, and also might be the one that could potentially change things the most, one way or the other. Will the ANC recover? Will the ANC finally lose the 50%? What's it going to be? Well, of course, you're going to have to be tuned in next year for that. In January, as ever, we will be talking about the year ahead. In the meanwhile, we've still got to wrap up this year. And there's still plenty that could happen in December as we build up to those great big events of next year. So, looking at December for the country, things actually look a little bit more cheerful than might be expected under the circumstances. As expected, over the last few months, and as we've seen in the chart, the incredible importance of land issues in this country. We saw it last year and this year. You've seen it repeatedly in my predictions throughout this year and in the book that I published last year, which said land would become the big issue again this year. And we now know, of course, that the committee has moved on to suggesting that Parliament now needs to amend the Constitution and do the required steps to get all of that kind of thing going. We all know that's going to take a little bit longer to happen and has maybe created a bit more uncertainty in our world, but, you know, nevertheless, land issues remain important, and there are going to be a number of steps taken in December. Even though Parliament's going to close, there are going to be a number of steps taken at this time that will also keep everyone on an even keel and a little bit stable about it all. It looks like things might happen in a slower, step-by-step fashion. It might be that the government is doing what it can to keep things calm and stable in the country for us and of course for themselves as they approach an election. That doesn't stop the usual fact of what happens when we approach the elections, and that is all the other political parties start amping up the accusations and so on. We have seen a lot of that in this last week or two from the EFF marching and jumping around, and even from the DA, who've made some accusations and pointing fingers here and there, trying to up the rhetoric and their options for the election. As we know, they've been in quite a difficult situation over the last couple of months and created themselves perhaps a bit of a problem in Patricia de Lille and her allies now being opposed to them. As we stand at the moment, it does look like what's happened with Patricia de Lille in the last little while, leaving the DA and announcing the start of her own party, is well timed for now, but doesn't look quite ahead as to what's better timed for next year. You know, there must be someone watching out there who's close to Patricia and tell her she either needs to watch the show or give me a shout. I'll keep it very discreet. Because it's all about timing, and if you get your timing right, you can do extraordinary things. That's true for all of us. Astrology is the lesson of timing, and when we do things at the right time, the right results happen. So, as we know, a lot of the political fires that are being stoked are mostly electioneering, and it does seem that South Africans are managing to maintain a certain amount of optimism in the face of that, astrologically speaking. It will be helped by some good results in the sporting arena over the next month, and even some good results on the international frontier. You know, our telescope in the Karoo has recently made a new discovery as been expected. That's why they built it. And there are other places where we're making little inroads that could make South Africa feature quite positively even on the international scene in the month ahead. So for the most part, given that there's an election and you've got political parties amping up their volume, it does look like we could end the year on quite a high note, and hopefully that gives us some promise and possibility for how we begin the year next year. Does look like the president still has a few aces up his sleeve, but don't expect any cabinet shuffles anytime soon. It does look like Dlamini and Mokonyane are protected, and that's probably what they're still doing in the cabinet. Whether Ramaphosa wants them gone or not, we don't really know, but for some reason they're still there and not really looking like they're going very far at the moment. He does have one or two more cards up his sleeve. He does look like he's preparing that for next year. I'd say the same thing to him about timing. Not looking so great on timing in the early months of next year when he has a few more knives to face in his own party. But for now, we're all doing well. So let's end the year on a high note. And let's see what's in this last month ahead for you. For Aries, well, things have been going well in the last month or so or more, and things have been happening and all sorts of new things on the go, and it's a little bit like it's a little bit too much of a good thing now. It's kind of like everything is all over the place, and you might find as if things are a little bit out of your control. There's too much on the go, there's too much on the table, and there's too much that you need to actually be responsible for. So this is a time to get real about what really is your responsibility and what isn't. You need to take charge of some things, you need to organize some things, and keep on track. Remember, what got you to this place at the moment is that you've needed to sort things out that have been lingering for the longest time. Now the priority is to make sure you feel secure. Get your financial situation in order. Get, in terms of all that stuff that's on the table, tie up some of those loose ends. You're going to have to be a lot more decisive, both in your working environment and in your home environment. Keep it at the essentials. Get rid of the dead wood, get rid of what's not working anymore, and get rid of what's not in your hands. In your personal life, you're going to need a bit of help though. Not everything is up to you. So make sure you also rely on your partner and input from your partner to sort things out and to sort out some of those basics like finances. Focus on the right things. Financial life, security, and relationship benefit from that. Taurus, as you know, one of the most practical signs of all, and most of the time you kind of do just get on with it, even though it takes some getting yourself together and sometimes giving yourself a bit of a push to make that actually happen. Once you're going, and things are working quite well. Well, that sometimes means you also miss out on the opportunity to be a little bit more choosy. So this is the month to feel a little bit more choosy, Taurus. Look at some of the things that are nice, that you like to do, that you want to do, rather than all the stuff you have to do. Maybe a bit of self-indulgence is in order. It's important to do things you love, to follow some opportunities that might bring new things into your life, or simply visit nice places, eat delicious foods, and do a little bit of the self-indulgence that you appreciate but are hardly ever good at. You can still make progress in many goals. It doesn't mean you're slacking off. You might even find easy help coming in. Others kind of get into the groove and want to do things for you as well. And of course, the same is then going to apply in your personal life. It looks like relationships are providing a lot of support for you in the month ahead. And in new relationships or possible relationships, it's not a good time to be shy. With everything working so well for you, kind of let it all hang out. Put yourself forward, speak up now, and that will let someone see what your real feelings are and make a good connection. Gemini, at times like this, you are at your best, you're on form, it's all happening, but you can also end up being your own worst enemy. Don't allow anyone or anything to divert you from what your mission actually is about this particular month. You're still kind of too busy keeping other people happy and forgetting what you need to do. So Also make a check on who is really my help, who are really my friends. Don't allow yourself to be put into the situation where you and what you are trying to achieve is second in importance, and don't allow yourself to be seen as second best. Similarly, don't settle for second best. It's time to kind of concentrate on what's important, concentrate on the here and now, and on your own goals in some way. It's really a great time to learn that good old lesson of living in the present, because you're unfocused at work and you could drop the ball, and this is not a good time for that. Others are going to step in where you falter, and if you drop the ball, you're going to end up coming short in some way. Your relationship can provide a bit of light relief, playtime, more relaxation and fun in that side, so that when you get back to the work environment, you're properly focused and able to finish what you started. Another lesson for the month. Cancerians still have some important things to do as the year ends, and it's kind of time to get stuck in, to just get those done and out of the way before the new year comes around. That does mean there are chores to be done, and you've also got a lot of clearing up to do. It seems like many Cancerians have a house in disarray of some kind. Could be that you're going to have to deal with guests, could be that you just want to have guests and good things during Christmas period, so there's also time to sort out your house in some way. Don't let the old baggage weigh you down while you're so ready to get on with the new stuff and get on with the new things you want to do for the next year. You can also improve domestic relationships through the joint effort of getting stuff together in the house. In your working environment, there's also an awful lot to be done, and it's kind of late to get that all easily done without putting your foot down. So you need to act with authority, you need to get other people on board, onto your same page, doing what needs to be done. And be careful with making decisions though, because it does look as if there's a challenge not to be hasty, not to act on your instincts, but rather to act on what's practical, which is a much more important thing to do. In your personal life, you will also find that a bit of a holiday, a little bit of time together, you need to give some attention to that. There's so much stuff on the go and so much practical things that need taken care of. Sharing some things around the house is a way to make that bond better. It's mostly been a good month or two for Leos. You probably find yourself a lot clearer on what needs to be done to get your life back onto track, and for the most part it's in a good way. You should be feeling quite lucky, or at the very least quite clear, and that ready to take control of, deal with whatever needs to be done. There is that sense though that nothing's going to happen unless you actually make it happen. So this is the month to make it happen. You do need to be strategic, and very importantly, you must not act in haste. But putting something into action, even if it's the end of the year, is really going to work very well for you. There are some things that in the last month or two have fallen by the wayside. You have been distracted by some things, and maybe those need to be tidied up a little bit first. You can't kid yourself that you can just move on. There's some niggles that can even interfere with your financial life if you're not careful in the month ahead. So take care of what needs to be done. Money coming in, money that's owed to you, or just collecting what is due. So making sure you deal with all those little minutiae is what's important. But things are operating smoothly, and it's not a surprise then that your personal life is going to do the same. People around you, lots of opportunities for good connection and friends and even romance, even maybe the resurfacing of an old flame. Enjoy that. Virgos, everyone knows that you love being helpful and useful, and there's always an opportunity to be helpful and useful, but that doesn't mean that people are also being helpful and useful for you. So you do need to make sure that what's owed to you in terms of work, favors and things that need to be done is coming your way, and you might also have to take charge, put your foot down, and make sure that people who've promised things to you, or that people who are working for you in any kind of way, actually are up to scratch and providing what it is that they've been employed to do. You might have to take a hard line and you might not feel great about doing that, but don't feel shy and don't feel guilty. Also, don't feel guilty about prioritizing what you want and prioritizing other people doing stuff for you instead of, as usual, the other way around. It's going to take more time to do things and more money to do things than you are anticipating. So also build that into your plans. There's probably some advice coming from an elder or a more experienced person who's outside of everything that needs to be done. Take that advice. It's good advice. And part of what that's about is sticking to the core plan, the core strategy, and the core idea. That's going to be important in all areas of your life. Don't let things distract you. Librans are often accused of being shallow and flighty, and those are really not fair words to describe a person who's tending really to be socially skilled, sociable, and able to network and connect with people at all sorts of levels. That could also be a very useful skill when it comes to professional life and when you need resources from people. At the moment, though, with a bit of luck, travel is coming early for you. It is December, it is the traditional month to have a holiday, and there are opportunities for you that are well worth taking up. Even what costs money is well worth pursuing in terms of travel at the moment. It looks like there's opportunities to learn new things, to meet new people, but you are going to have to be careful not to get yourself into any financial squeeze as you get a little bit reckless in the process. Your personal life could be a good source of support. Women in your life are providing a lot of comfort and support, women friends and partners and so on, and also perhaps someone to lean on. Also, this is time to accept the love that is coming your way. People love you at the moment, people want to do stuff, there's new friends. Let it all in. If this is not coming from your partner, though, make sure that your partner is not feeling neglected with all the love that's coming your way. Let them be part of that story, and then it's all good. One thing that Scorpios do not like to be, and that is the center of attention. But it does look like there are many areas at the moment where that's exactly where you find yourself. So you might, on the one hand, prefer your privacy. On the other hand, you might just feel that with whatever's going on, you don't deserve to be the central focus, but you do. This is the time to get your projects at the center, make your projects the priority, and make sure that other people are focused on helping that in some way. In other areas of your life, it's not quite as easy because it does look like there are family matters that need your attention, and that's where you're not going to be able to be the most important thing that's happening. Especially if it's the generation before you, your parents or your parents' generation, members in the family in that generation, they might need a little bit of attention, and they might also help bring something to light that you need to know or have been trying to find out for some time. It's not as easy to keep a balance as it might sound because there is demanding stuff at work going on as well. So again, with your priorities right, find the balance between what family requires and what work requires as well. And as if that's not enough, your personal life, your partner, never mind the generation above you, your partner is also needing a little bit of attention. End result of all of this, don't spread yourself too thin. Concentrate on what's important, your goals, your family, your relationship. Well, Sagittarians, despite all the chaos and haste and all of those things, many of your plans have managed to come to fruition in the last little while and in the last year, and hopefully some of the dreams you've been carrying around have also come true in this time. A lot of support has come from friends, and that continues to be true in the month ahead. It's kind of like without those friends, you would have been in a lot more difficult situations. Many Sagittarians suffered difficult losses and changes this year, and make sure that you shift towards the positive outlook and the great grand vision that everyone loves you for and that you're pretty good at. People are looking up to you at the moment, and you could be in a mentoring or training situation where people are really benefiting from your ability to understand and convey difficult things. But even still, personal goals as well are important, and the opportunities to pursue some of those as well. You know, it's not always just about job satisfaction, it's also about a sense of meaning in what you do and a sense of purpose in what you do. And that's what to look for and concentrate on in your working life at the moment. Your personal life is thriving and providing a lot of support and space for that. Don't take it for granted, but continue to enjoy that, and you will end the year on a high note. Capricorn, you have a birthday approaching in the month ahead, and as ever, as your birthday approaches, things might get a little bit shaky, the energy gets a little frenetic, and you often will feel a little bit low and unable to deal with it all. You need to find a little quiet, you need to find a spot where you can just retreat to and spend some time for yourself, wrapping up, finishing up, tying up, doing those kinds of things. Look at the loose ends, tie up some loose ends, finished, unfinished business from this year, and you'll feel yourself in a much stronger situation as the year approaches and the year end approaches, and as your birthday approaches as well. For the most part, things are really working smoothly, so the wrapping up of loose ends isn't an extra stress. It's really going to help you feel as if you're on top of things and as if things are getting completed. As ever, you're trying to avoid letting anyone down or hurting someone in the process, and that's going to actually work in your favor at the moment. There's someone around you who needs a bit of that support, and if you show up for that support, you're going to score a lot of extra points that are probably going to help you in the months ahead. In your personal life, the same is true. There are lots of people who are a little bit needy in some way and who will benefit from whatever help you can offer. Capricorns are not very good at listening to other people, but there's someone around you who could be the source of wisdom that you don't have. Keep eyes, ears, and humility open, and you'll benefit from that. Aquarians can look forward to a successful month because everyone seems to be on your page and working with you to ensure that that happens. So keep that momentum going. There are a lot of willing people around you right now, and you might need to take advantage of that. Not everything is going to be drawn to a close, and some of these people and these things are coming and going. But it's really a process of working with people and working with the team. So now is the time to delegate, to inspire, to persuade, and eventually probably find yourself in a leadership role in this month ahead. It does look like finances are strong and your plans are working out for the most part. So it really looks like one of the best months you've had in ages. That could make it difficult to play. It's hard for you to separate work and play at this time. Very often work looks like play, and you think, well, it's my thing and I'm enjoying it and it's all good. And that could be true, but it doesn't actually mean you're getting to let off the steam and enjoy your personal life in the way that play actually demands. There are some old friends who need you, and the needs of friends should not be neglected right now. And there is also someone who needs your support at this time. So put your personal energy where it belongs the most. One thing is, don't let your partner in romance think that they're being neglected just because friends and co-workers are getting so much energy. It's not a difficult balance to achieve. You're in charge right now. Delegate. Pisces, you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed by everything that you meant to do, but somehow hasn't been done. Luckily, some of those things are going to fall into place on their own in this month, and you'll be able to check some boxes off and kind of get away with some of that Pisces luck. But still, you do also need to find some quality time alone. Any confusion or overwhelming emotion, all of those things, you're easily affected by other people. And right now, you need to clear your space so that you know where you stand and what you need and even what you want. There will be an opportunity for you to travel or to do something completely new at this time, and that's going to be the perfect way to make sure that you're focusing on what's necessary for you and what your goals are actually all about. There's some things in your life that could get an altogether fresh start. There's new opportunities and new options and all of that. You mustn't spread yourself too thin. Don't jump at everything. You need to look carefully and think strategically as to how any of this could benefit you. The solution is going to be found in something that requires a little bit of patience, a little bit of a step-by-step approach. And patience is going to be required in a lot of things. In your relationship, your partner is the one who needs to be patient with you. But you can make things a lot easier if you make sure that you separate work and play. Put play back where it belongs. That's in your personal life with your relationship. Things working well at work will continue to do so if you keep that boundary in place, and you'll end the year on a very successful note. Well, it does look like a pretty exciting December for all of us, and hopefully you will also end it on a positive note. Don't forget to have a bit of a holiday and have a good time. January will be here before we know it, and we will all be back in the swing of things. In the meanwhile, I'll also be back next week at the usual time. See you then.